Cassandra Worthy, you made it to the Fitness Business Podcast. Woohoo!
Yay! I should have had a noise maker as opposed to just my voice, but that's going to have to suffice.
Yeah, we could use some good noise makers. That'd be pretty cool. All right. Awesome. Well, you're going to be at IHRSA for 2023 as a keynote speaker. So we thought, let's get you on here, kind of just get you out there to our FEP family, because so many of them do attend the IHRSA conference. But we just want to kind of get to know you a little bit better. So I'd love for you just to take, a few minutes here and just talk about your journey and how you've gotten from point A to point B, and maybe even where point C is going to be in the future.
Perfect. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me, Dori. And what up to the IHRSA family, the community. I am so stoked to be joining you all in the upcoming conference. Dori let me know she's been going 12, 13 years running. So I can't wait. This is going to be my first one, but hopefully not my last. So thank you so much. So yeah, about me, it's been an interesting journey, but one that I think every single step has been for a reason. And I'm grateful for everyone. So I have a natural, insatiable curiosity. I always tell folks that math and science found me because I'm always curious to unveil the mysteries of life, right? And as a kid, you can ask my parents, I was the one asking all the questions, the what's, the whys, the where's, the how comes, what for. And so science and math armed me with the tools to actually start answering some of those questions. And so that gravitated me into chemical engineering. So I went to Georgia Tech, got my degree in chemical engineering, and pursued that in corporate America. So I spent 15 years working in consumer packaged goods, predominantly at Procter & Gamble, which was amazing because it allowed me to travel the world. It allowed me to continue to solve problems, which is, as an engineer, that's what you learn how to do, is to solve really complex problems. So, designing new shampoo formulations, scaling those formulations up. I worked in blazing razors. I did battery chemistry work. It was a lot of fun. But throughout that career, it was riddled with dealing with a lot of really big change, really big disruption, notably in the acquisition space. So I have been a part of two major acquisitions in the CPG industry, one in which I joined a business that the parent company had recently acquired, and then another in which I was a part of the business that another company was acquiring. So I've seen both sides of the coin. And during those experiences, I felt firsthand that pain, the frustration, the anger, the fear, the anxiety that we're riddled with when we're going through a lot of change and disruption, especially that kind of change that feels like it just slaps you across the face. You're laying on the ground asking, why did this happen? I did not ask for this. And so it was during those experiences that I began cultivating this mindset of change enthusiasm. Of course, I didn't call it that back then, but it was a matter of shifting my perspective and allowing those emotions that I was feeling to act as signals, bringing me into my greatest moment of opportunity to show up, to learn, to evolve, to become better by simply choosing. So I assumed that position of choice, and I haven't gotten up ever since. And it was through moving through those acquisitions, as well as hearing my own intuition, as well as what people were telling me around me as far as my unique value, what I bring into a room when I walk into it, that started to paint a different picture than just leading organizations in corporate America and doing innovation. And so following curiosity, again, talking about that insatiable curiosity, I found myself on a stage talking about change enthusiasm, something that I'm so passionate about, that I practice each and every day, and I was lit up. And I was able to embrace my purpose, I think, in this life experience and in this evolution, to inspire the same light, this joy, this effervescence, this energy that I feel flowing through me, to invite that same light to spring forward from another. And I'm able to experience that every time I get off a stage, when I see that light beaming from somebody's face, through their eyes, through their smiles. And that moment for me is magic. And I strongly feel that it's my purpose. So now I'm doing this full time. I've got my consulting company where we bring change enthusiasm, leadership training, leadership development, talking about the emotions of change, bringing the research, bringing the data and the insights to help individuals grow through even their toughest change challenges. One that I know folks in IHRSA and within the fitness and gym community have not been immune to, right?
Right. So I don't want to give too much away, of course, of what you're going to speak about at IHRSA, but I always feel like positivity, optimism, two words that usually for most people don't go with the word change.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
can you seem like, just with talking to you here in the last couple of minutes, that you ooze a lot of optimism and positivity. Did that take you a while to try to kind of get to that point during all these changes, or were you kind of like a positive and optimistic child?
So I will say I was a positive, optimistic child. My mom tells me I have two older siblings, and she tells me that of all her kids, I'm the one whose personality hasn't really changed that much from when I was a kid, asking all those questions, bouncing around the house. Which, I think that makes sense. But no, I do have a great optimism about me. But this is what I'll say about change enthusiasm, because often it's kind of a misnomer. It's not about blind, or what I call toxic positivity. It's not about always being optimistic when change hits. Rather, change enthusiasm meets you exactly where you are. The very first step of this mindset, which I'll share, of course, during the conference, is what I call the signal, or these really difficult emotions. The fear, the frustration, the anger, the anxiety, the ones that you want to run away from, or for me, that I want to suppress, that I want to ignore, pretend is not there. And that's the watch out for me, and why I'm one of the greatest students of this teaching. It's about embracing those emotions, because they're guideposts, they're signals, and it's up to us to understand them, allow them to guide us and teach us kind of how we need to move forward, so that then we can choose how to transform them. And that's when the promise of change enthusiasm starts to come about. You'll find that anticipation, that enthusiasm about a change, recognizing that if I'm feeling this signal emotion, I'm in my moment of opportunity. And it's up to me to choose how I move forward, how I grow, how I evolve, how I use this change, this disruption, to work for me instead of against me. And so I think that it's been, for me, a bit of a process to embrace the difficulty of change, as opposed to just trying to numb it out, suppress it, or ignore it, and only being rah, rah, come on, we can do this, optimistic, because you lose a bit of richness, and you can lose the gift and the opportunity that change can present.
Your topic is beyond relevant, because obviously we all know, whether you're sitting here in the United States or in Canada or in Europe, that change has been blown up tenfold in the last 2 years, that people just have had to adapt over and over and over again to change. And I kind of am curious to see if you feel that people have gotten immune to change, or has change just become even more burdensome and makes people more ridden with anxiety?
Here's what I think has happened, and I think partly the pandemic has helped to afford this. At least this is what I'm seeing in my working with my client base. I am seeing more often leaders, those who are running businesses, business owners, those who lead teams, embrace and accept the difficulty of change, to acknowledge those difficult emotions, to acknowledge and allow employees to emote, to grant avenues, platforms for that emotional energy to flow. I think that we are beginning to move away from seeing our team members, seeing our workforce simply as human capital, set off to deliver something to move the business forward. Rather, we are complex emotional beings. And that emotion, it needs to be allowed in the door of business. We partner with a leading research institute called CGK to understand the status of change and emotion in the workplace. And we have found that for employees, 72% feel that they can more aptly adopt to a change when they feel safe and comfortable sharing their truest emotions. And that includes the anticipation and excitement, but also those more difficult emotions. And so I think I'm starting to see leaders and clients really get on board with the power of that. And of course, that's the red hot center of my work, bringing this data, bringing these insights, bringing that awareness to the world, so that more and more leaders and businesses and organizations and cultures are embracing that. Because these emotions are ones that can drive your attrition rates through the roof, or they can really help to engage your business and your employees and your culture moving through any change or any disruption.
So when you go out and speak at all of these different places, whether you're a keynote or you're just going in maybe as a contractor helping different companies with change, or as a consultant, what do you feel is the number one question that you get asked over and over again?
Yeah, I think what I get asked most often is, how do we make the change sustainable? How do we face the emotional landscape, but still move forward with a change in a sustainable way and in an effective way? And of course, that's when I have to really reiterate that this is a mindset, and sometimes it requires a shift in belief, and it requires practice. It's about forming the habit. And then I also just advise them, although it's probably not, news that they necessarily want to hear, but that through any change, that emotional complexity is going to be there. At any slice, any moment of time, you're going to have a wealth of different emotions throughout the organization. But it's about creating that foundation, that mindset, those tools that as an individual, when I face the difficult emotions, I know I'm in my moment of opportunity. And I now am self-actualized to grow through that change. So that's really how you can make that resilient culture, that change-ready culture really exist, so that any change, any disruption, any growth, challenge that comes down the way, the organization and the individuals that comprise it are going to be ready for it.
So when you go and speak, such as you'll come to IHRSA this year and you'll speak, do you get any really good stories, like follow-up stories of people that have reached back out to you that said, hey, oh my gosh, this is what we were able to accomplish in our company, or this is what I was able to accomplish personally after listening to you?
Yeah, for sure. Many, many, many of those. And they always make my day. And I can never get too many of them. One of the ones that I kind of think back to is some work we did with a huge jewelry retailer in North America, one of the largest diamond retailers in the world. And we work with them in a consulting capacity. And they were facing in their quarter 4 of 2021 a record kind of setting year from the prior year. So quarter 4 of 2020 was an outstanding quarter. And so they're approaching the following year wanting to match or even exceed that record. Our work started in Q3. Q4, they ended up blowing their record out of the water. Some stores saw double-digit growth. Some stores saw 100% growth, meaning that they doubled the revenue that they had seen in the prior record quarter. And it was just a tremendous, tremendous result. So I got to learn that through, of course, the president of global operations who shared that data, but then a lot of other testimonials that came from the store managers, the store leaders who my team and I got to work very closely with leading into that quarter. So yeah, it's that type of feedback that keeps me waking up every day, jazzed to do this work, to live on purpose, to share this mindset and these tools with as many people in the world as I can.
So no more chemical engineering in any capacity whatsoever?
Yes and no. So I'll say I don't do regular, like as you would think, chemical engineering type of work. But again, with an engineering degree, I was taught how to think, how to solve complex problems. I'm still doing that each and every day as I work to grow the business, as I work to scale the business, and as I work with clients to understand their problems and how best that we can partner together to solve them.
So Georgia Tech has served you well then?
Very well, very well. I am so grateful for my chemical engineering degree. And I'm also incredibly grateful for the tenure I had in corporate, because it helped me to speak the language. It helped me to understand that speaking in front of teams, in front of organizations, inspiring individuals is something that I actually really enjoy and have a natural kind of gift to do. And so, often I'm asked, man, with the success that you've had in your consulting business, don't you regret not leaving corporate sooner? And I'm like, no, because if it wasn't for those 15 years, I would not be as groomed and ready to take on this new realm as I was. So I'm grateful for every day that I spent in corporate. And honestly, it was about 4 or 5 years before I left corporate that I really came into my own understanding kind of my purpose and what really lights me up. And so I got to work in a way that I found more things to do on my work plan that was in tune with that purpose and lighting me up. So I was having a ball. But it was just the right next step for me to sunset my official, working in corporate. And now I work to support corporate.
Well, you're such an inspiration for all of our listeners out there, because, we have so many entrepreneurs that left their corporate job and fitness was their passion, so they're listening each week, trying to figure out how to, get their business started, make their business thrive, make their dream come true. So I think that right now, so many of our listeners are feeling so inspired by your journey and kind of shifting gears, you said you still bring in some of your chemical engineering, your problem solving skills into your passion right now. And I love it. So I do have a question for you though. Has it come full circle yet that you have been able to go back and speak at Georgia Tech?
Yes. So it's come full circle twice. So my very first paid engagement was actually back with Procter & Gamble. So I had left P&G as a part of that acquisition, the second one that I talked about. My first paid engagement was back with P&G. And then I've since gone back and also done an engagement with Georgia Tech, with their business school. So yeah, I've been able to go back and contribute kind of this thing I've created that's in my lane. And I will say for all the business owners, all the entrepreneurs that are listening, no matter where you are in your business, and I know from day to day, it can seem bleak. It can seem like you're walking in the dark. You don't know which way you're going. I would say just keep stepping 1 foot over the other, 1 foot over the other, and just trust you're walking on the path that you're meant to be on. Because if you can get lit up, you can find joy and excitement in the work that you're leading, the work that you're striving to do, you're on your path. Trust that and keep stepping.
So would you have ever have thought 10 years ago that in 2023, you would be stepping on one of the largest fitness business stages in the world during the IHRSA conference in front of all the fitness entrepreneurs out there and department heads and managers and personal trainers and group fitness instructors?
Of course I did. I'm amazing. No. No, not at all. Not at all. Every day is like a dream come true. Like I tell my wife, from day to day, I have to pinch myself that this is the work that I get to do. This is the work I get to lead. These are the humans that I get to meet, that I get to engage with. And I cannot wait to chop it up with all of the listeners, everyone coming to IHRSA. It lights me up. You all allow me to live on purpose and live my passion, and I'm so appreciative. Go.
Nice. You are a one-take wonder. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Good job. Way easier in the editing room. So thank you.
My pleasure. We didn't need a prep sheet. I knew it.